On today's episode of the Weekly Monster Truck Podcast, join Zach, Ryan, Wayne, and I as we talk about the 2021 Stadium Championship Series and more.
So strap yourselves in.
Mash that lad pedal.
And get ready.
Because it's
time
to
jam!
Hello and welcome back to the Weekly Monster Truck Podcast. Hi again, everyone. I'm Jackson, also known as Monster Jammer Stone. You can follow my social media at Monster Jammer Stone on Instagram and Monster Jammer Stone on YouTube. Guys, we're back. I've been gone for a little bit. The podcast has been gone for a little bit, and I'm excited to finally bring it back. And what better way with the 2021 Stadium Championship Series recently just ending. It's great to talk about it. Today, I have an all-star podcast lineup to join me to help talk about the rest of the 2021 Stadium Championship Series. Today, I am joined by Ryan Zielsdorf, Wayne Shiocki, and Zach Romick. Guys, please introduce yourselves.
Might as well start this one off. For those of you who don't know, my name is Zach Romick, aka Drop Silver Zero, and guys, we are back here for the Monster Truck Weekly Podcast, excuse me, and I'm very excited. You know, a lot of news has broken out since Jackson's last recorded an episode of this podcast, and guys, it's great to be back.
For anybody that hasn't been on the podcast before, my name is Ryan Zielsdorf. I'm a regular on this thing, and if you've seen it before, there's no introduction needed. You know who I am, and I'm just glad to be back on it with these guys.
Hey, what's going on, guys? You know me. I'm Pizza Wayne, Avengers Racing, and I'm looking forward to recapping the whole season. It was a blast. I got to go to a couple of shows, thankfully, and thank God, with Kermit the Frog, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we have to talk about today. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, guys, and we're going to start off with some news because there has been a lot of news that has happened over the time that I have been away. So some of these recent news, some of these are from a few weeks ago, but they are still relevant and they are still important. Let's focus on the most recent piece of Monster Jam media, being Monster Jam Steel Titans 2. They have finally released, the game has been out for excuse me, I think about 3 weeks, and I might do a full in-depth review on a later podcast or a later video on the Monster Jam Stone YouTube channel, but to vaguely talk about it now, it is an absolute gem. I love playing it. There are so many unique features. There's the world secrets, there's the campaign, the trucks, the worlds. It is just so awesome. They took all the great features from the first Steel Titans and they completely just rehashed it. They put a new coat of paint on it and it is absolutely amazing. I love playing it. I still am addicted to playing it. When it first came out, I played it non-stop. I took a little bit of a break, but I still come back to it all the time, and I love playing it. I still haven't finished it, but we're getting there. It is an absolute gem to play, like I said. So guys, I want to hear your opinions. I know Wayne and Ryan, you guys definitely have Steel Titans and you've been playing it, but I'm still curious to know what you guys think, as well as you, Zach. I don't know if you have bought Steel Titans 2 at all.
I have not actually. I've actually do have Steel Titans 1, the original, which of course we all know that game. Although it looks great, hard to drive, the gravity is turned up to 1000. But from what I've seen from everything of Steel Titans 2, they've finally brought the gravity back down. They've included a bunch of new trucks. It just seems to handle a lot better, and especially the world exploration. That's what I really liked about Steel Titans 1. You're able to just go out there, have an adventure, and do what you want, but there wasn't really that much of an area to cover. And Steel Titans 2 finally, was able to pick it up on that, and it just feels like a lot better. It feels like it's a brand new game. I wouldn't know if I'd say it's a fresh new coat of paint because I feel as if it's just a bit more than that.
Kind of touching on what Zach said. Once you got done playing the original Steel Titans game, I had just gotten to that point where I was laying down pretty good consistent runs. It was really fun to work your way in that game and try to make a good realistic run, get those realistic two-wheel moves in there. And I just gotten to that point where I was satisfied with where I was at. And then the second game came out. So now it's all about trying to do what I've been doing in that first game and trying to turn it into the second game, try and make the best out of it that I can. And I am certainly looking forward to making my debut in the Steel Titan Sports League, going against that Wayne dude right there, old Pizza Wayne, and that zombie monster doing truck.
And Ryan's not going just up against me. He's going up against Kermit the Frog because he'll be piloting that monster truck too. But my honest opinions about Steel Titans 2, it is everyone's like dream from Steel Titans 1. There's a lot of improvement, and I'm very happy with what the developers did. I got to check it out right when it came out. I got the early access bundle, and I really enjoy it. The big improvements are in physics, which a lot of people had complaints about in the first game. There were some glitches that they fixed. Doing different types of moves is a little harder now. I used to be able to do bicycles around a stadium like 2 or 3 laps and be A-okay with it, but now in this new game, it's really hard to master, and it feels like it's more realistic, especially for a video game. I recommend this game for anyone who wants to just pick up the controller and load straight into a game and have some fun. Free roam, like you guys were saying, is much more improved. There's a lot more maps, and it's a lot more in-depth for the career mode and different types of things to do. So I'm pretty happy about that. I like the expansion on the game. There's still room for more improvement. I think in the next generation of the game, in a year or two, it's going to get even better. And hopefully we'll even see it esports. But right now, I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm looking forward to the Steel Titan Sports League, which is the shirt I'm wearing right now. I'm going to be commentating it, going up against Ryan, and we're going to have a blast. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. And another thing I wanted to focus on too was a couple of points. First off, one thing I did forget to mention is currently it was actually on release day that there is a inverse truck pack, so you can actually get this DLC. There's a few inverse trucks. For those who've been paying attention to the Spin Master Monster Jam line, you'll know about the inverse trucks, and there are some, I believe, Gravedigger, Northern Nightmare, Alien Invasion, and a few others are in this truck pack. But the thing I wanted to talk about the most was the thing that Zach originally brought up, and that was the worlds. I totally agreed with what he said. In the first game, I loved the free roam. Ever since the 2007 game came out, they used to have the mode where you could free roam around the tracks. And I was like, imagine if there was like a whole world that you could just explore and just go through. How fun would that be? And then Steel Titans 1 did that, and I was just so excited. And then once you've played it a bit, you kind of get bored. You keep seeing the same set pieces, and, you know, it was relatively the same theme. You know, like, you would go from the, whatever it's called, the camp, or the university area, and then you'd go to the airfield, and it would look almost exactly the same. Now, in this, you go from Camp Crushmore, the starting place, then you go to a bloody giant-sized dog park, to then some weird, like, dark, you know, night-themed, base of some sort.
Like a castle.
Yeah, and to a spooky castle. It's just, there's just so much variety. Honestly, I really hope that the developers of this game add more maps to the future, or in the future, I should say, in the future of the game. I think that'd be really epic. What else was there? Yeah, basically, fans are really loving it, and Steel Titans 2 the Steel Titans Sports League They are starting up their season. I am actually going to be in it. I'm not on the same tour as Ryan and Wayne, unfortunately, but I'm looking forward to driving the Megalodon Monster Jam truck and pushing it to its limits. Moving on to the next piece of news, Monster Jam OCD and Monster Jam have teamed up with Spin Master to create the first Monster Jam fan-inspired and industry-collaborated die-cast Monster Jam truck. And the OCD Meltdown, the name of the truck in question, will be available on the Monster Jam Superstore very soon. This is truly incredible. You know, Ryan Albin, sorry for mispronouncing your name. He is just such a big part of our community. He is the main man that people go to for all your monster truck diecast needs, and just, you know, he's always there promoting products, and to have a truck named after him, or have a truck based off him and his just a truck to commemorate his work in the industry is just truly incredible. And this opens the door for so much other things. If Ryan is getting a truck based on him, there's just so many other options for other people in the industry, and I just think it's truly incredible. I'm gonna hand it over to you guys. What do you guys think of the OCD Meltdown truck?
Well, to sort of answer the question, it's very well deserved. Ryan has done an absolute ton of work behind all of his videos, behind all the fan interactions, all the Facebook groups that he is involved with, everything that he does, even his Discord server as well. Excuse me. He's done a whole lot of things for this community, and it's very well deserved. Luckily he has the deal with Spin Masters, so he's able to get that type of position, be able to get, the heads up, the news, just so he could come out and announce it. It's great, honestly, and to see, collaboration between Ryan and Spin Master itself is beautiful. But I wouldn't know if it'd be the first fan/Monster Jam collaboration, because, and forgive me if I butcher the last name, but I believe Bob Hennigan, I believe that's his last name, all of his custom trucks for the new chase pieces for 2021, of course, the showcase trucks, which is a more detailed version of every truck. I believe that is actually the first Monster Jam / fan collaboration. I believe Bob has helped inspired and helped those guys out with the trucks. I could be mistaken on that though. But for Ryan and the OCD Meltdown truck, very nice, very well deserved. And I'm absolutely very happy to see him get that. And I wonder what else there is, like you said, Jackson, what other types of positions and collaborations we can get for every other member of the community here. Every other member that's, a big name in the community. I definitely love to see more of that stuff.
I think it looks so good. I love the green on it. I just think it turned out so well. And I really like how much Monster Jam and Spin Master is paying attention to the fans and seeing how much it all centers really around us. And so we're, as much as the drivers are, we're also making the tides turn. We're innovating the sport as well. So I think it's very important for them to see what their target audience is, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's very smart, and I'm really glad they made the truck for Ryan. Like you guys said, he's done a lot for the community, starting in Hot Wheels a few years ago, and now in Spin Master with the official partner for Monster Jam. He's a really nice guy. I've got to talk to him a few times, thankfully, and he's been really kind to me and a lot of the other Monster Jam community members. So seeing him get a truck, especially in person, I got to be there when they announced it. He said there was a special announcement to stream it on Instagram. I did, and I was very shocked. It's a beautiful truck. I got to hold it in my hand and check it out, took a few pictures. It's beautiful. It's going to be something that the fans really like, and I'm glad, like you guys said, that they're listening to the fans' thoughts and what they want to see, and that Ryan, as an influencer of Spin Master, is getting his own truck made, which the fans are going to enjoy, especially the ones that get to see his content and his videos. So I'm glad for Ryan. He's a great guy, and Spin Master Partnership's going to keep going on and on. They make beautiful trucks, and I got to get my collection going again. I just had to make room. Everything's under renovation.
So another thing that I wanted to another piece of news, is that Ryan Albin, Monster Jam OCD, isn't the only one that was being commemorated, because if you remember at that Orlando show, they had the Monster Jam Hall of Fame. At the night show, Scott Douglas and Dennis Anderson were officially inducted into the Hall of Fame. A truly incredible ceremony. Just to see our idols get inducted into this Hall of Fame, and especially to see Dennis drive out onto the course in a Gravedigger with zoomies, do one final lap, truly was an emotional experience. I cannot imagine how the fans in attendance truly felt about this. But not only that, the biggest set of news, the biggest set of surprise was the day after, where it was announced that Gary Porter and Mike Wales were inducted into the Hall of Fame class for this year. So if you remember, Scott Douglas and Dennis Anderson were inducted to the 2020 Hall of Fame. They couldn't do the induction last year because of the pandemic. Now they have this year's Hall of Fame class being Gary Porter and Mike Wales. For those who aren't aware of the contribution that these two made, Gary Porter, of course, the legendary driver of the Carolina Crusher Monster Jam truck, and Mike Wales has driven a few times. He's driven Wrench Head, Gravedigger, I think, but he has been before a senior director of Monster Jam. He has been around the industry for quite some time, and unfortunately he passed away in 2016. Truly, I think people would have liked to have seen Tom Meents, but nonetheless, these two people, these truly great and deserving people. I'm going to pass it over to you guys. What do you think of this year's Hall of Fame class?
I mean, listen, everyone that's involved, 4 very well-deserving parties, I genuinely believe. Firstly, Scott Douglas getting inducted. A lot of inspiration for a lot of guys who like to do commentary. Certainly a big inspiration for guys like myself. Absolutely a phenomenal man. I wish I could meet him. Wish I ever had the opportunity to meet him. Maybe one day, who knows? But Scott Douglas is absolutely a phenomenal person, and I'm very, very excited to see that he finally got inducted. Same thing as Dennis. Dennis I did get to meet, actually. Awesome dude. Hands down, very genuine, very honest, very upfront with all of his fans. Dennis would just treat you like he would treat any one of the boys, except with a bit of a filter. Either way, though, Dennis getting inducted into the Hall of Fame is very nice. Very, very nice. And, of course, hearing the news about Gary Porter getting inducted, that's honestly one of the biggest shockers for me. Gary Porter, very well-deserving driver, Gravedigger, Carolina Crusher, going all the way back. Very well deserved and very well done for Gary. And for Mike, this one's a bit bittersweet because of the unfortunate news of his passing in 2016. However, I'm sure if he was still around today, then he'd absolutely be ecstatic for it. And it's phenomenal to see Mike get this opportunity, even at this point. It's very nice, absolutely a very great story to hear.
Well, I will admit there were some tears shed. I will say that up front. Watching it at home, I so wish I could have been there in person, but obviously that's just not in the cards right now with everything that's going on. But watching that live stream, just watching both Dennis drive out on the track and talk with his whole family, that it just all these childhood memories just rushing through your head while looking at your entire childhood of Dennis Anderson and Scott Douglas, along with the future of Monster Jam with Ryan, Adam, and Kristen. It was just a beautiful night Scott Douglas on top of that, everything about it was just so wonderful. And I am just looking forward to the future of Monster Jam and who else is going to be added to this list.
I was thankfully at this show. It was an hour and 45-minute drive, so I had the opportunity to go. And I was so happy to be there. It was such an incredible moment. And we didn't expect the second induction, at least I didn't, for the second day. I thought it was just going to be a normal show. And then I saw there was 2 more inductees, and I was very surprised. But it brought back a lot of chills, a lot of memories, like you said, Ryan. And it was such a great time. I'm glad that Monster Jam and Feld decided to have a Hall of Fame like a lot of other sports. And hopefully there'll be like a little section somewhere in the headquarters or a place for people to visit to see the history and maybe a museum of Monster Jam in the coming years. I was very happy about it, and I didn't expect Dennis to go around the stadium with the Zumi Gravedigger. My friends were like, hey, there's a surprise later, and we were like, what is it? And nobody knew. And then out came the icon, Dennis Anderson, announced by Scott Douglas. And out came Dennis, revving up the truck, doing a parade lap in the Zumi Gravedigger, and then climbed out of the video like it was, climbed out of the cab like it was nothing. It was a great time. I'm glad you guys got to watch it, at least on the live stream. And I hope there's a lot more awesome inductees coming up.
Absolutely, and there's just so much potential in the future for future Hall of Fame classes. I don't believe that they're gonna do any more this year. I think at the moment they might do 2 a year, and I'm kind of good with that. I just hope Tom Meents is on there. People have been speculating that the Hall of Fame classes, including people that are retired from the sport, which kind of makes sense. But at the same time, I feel like Tom Meents, despite the fact that he's not retired, should be on the Hall of Fame class in the coming years, and not rather be, like, not be like later on. Like, let's say he retires in 5 years. I don't think he should be in, I don't know, the 7th Hall of Fame class. I think he should be inducted next year, but that's just my opinion. Moving on is one of the most exciting bit of news is new shows for Monster Jam. The pre-sale has already begun for these. These were announced a couple of weeks ago. Nonetheless, there are 4 arena shows here with great lineups. I'm going to quickly read through them. So, Columbia, South Carolina at the Colonial Life Arena, April 9th to 11th. There are 5 shows. I'll leave a link in the description for show times and tickets and all that stuff. Nonetheless, the lineup for Columbia consists of Bad Company John Gordon, FTI Talk Jack Brown, Gravedigger Tyler Manninger, Megalodon Adam Anderson, Slinger Scott Hartsock, and Aaron Basil in Exterminator. I'm going to go through all of these, and then I'm going to ask my co-hosts what they think of the lineup. Moving on to the next show is Des Moines, Iowa at the Wells Fargo Arena, April 16th to 18th. There are 4 shows. The lineup consists of Black Pearl Corvinard, Devastator Aaron Basil, Gravedigger Tyler Manninger, Jailbird Kalen Miguez, Megalodon Adam Anderson, and Overboard Jamie Garner. Moving on to the next show is Biloxi, Mississippi at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum, April 30th to May 2nd. There are 5 shows. The lineup consists of Bad Company John Gordon, FTI Talk Jack Brown, Gravedigger Kristen Anderson, Megalodon Tristan Anglin, we'll come back to that, Slinger Scott Hartsock, and Exterminator Roy Pridgeon. And finally, the last show on the list is Greenville, South Carolina, the Bon Secures Wellness Arena, May 14th to 16th. There are 6 shows. The lineup consists of Gravedigger Brandon Vincent, Hooked Brian Wright, Jester Matt Pagliarulo, Kraken Nick Pagliarulo, Scooby-Doo Lindsay Reed, and Stonecrusher Steve Sims. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about. First off, it is great to see that there are still going to be shows during what I would call the chill time. Of course, the main season that everyone has been hoping for is now over. At least there are still going to be shows going on across the year. Of course, these arena shows are still exciting to Monster Jam fans, and I'm looking forward to it. But before I talk about this, the key points I want to bring up: Tyler Menninger. He's going to be driving Gravedigger. Very exciting to see that Tyler Menninger is still here. He's going to be driving, and I'm truly looking forward to that. Brandon Vincent is another one, so we already have technically four, but three Gravedigger drivers driving Gravedigger this year. That is great news. And, of course, the talking point that everyone has been going off on is Tristan England is here. Not an Earthshaker, but a Megalodon. He's going to be driving in Biloxi. I am just stoked to see all these drivers coming back and driving, and especially to see Tristan and Megalodon. I think it's going to be cool to see the Mustard Man in a tuna. I think I think that would just be epic. But nonetheless, I'm gonna hand it over to you guys. What do you think of not just the lineup, but all of these brand new shows that will be coming up in the months of April and May?
I mean, listen, it's absolutely phenomenal that Monster Jam's finally coming back to a smaller arena scale based show, especially multiple of them, 4 shows to be exact, each with their own separate time cards. It's gonna be phenomenal. What surprised me is the widespread of drivers, the amount of drivers we have in there. I mean, especially drivers going from truck to truck. Like one show, you're gonna see Aaron Basil driving Exterminator, and then the next you'll see Roy behind the wheel of Exterminator. So it's just to say, hey, what can we expect out of these shows and these drivers? It's really going to bring up a lot of questions, especially with Tristan England behind the wheel of Megalodon. Of course, when we first heard that Tristan England was going to be coming back, we were all expecting him to be behind the wheel of Earthshaker. However, things have changed from the looks of it, and he is behind the wheel of the big salty tuna fish. And I'm very excited to see what could happen at each one of these shows.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tyler Menninger. That is the highlight reel for me. I am so excited to see him back. Bring the Gravedigger name back on top. Christian did a great job, but with the stacked lineup like they had, it was just not in the cards for Kristen to come out, especially her first stadium run. She killed it, but you're not going to perform well against the Adams, the Ryan, the Tom, the Todds. We just couldn't expect that. But Tyler coming back in the seat with Brandon, Gravedigger is going to kill the next 2 months on this tour. I'm looking forward to all these shows. You got the Pagliarulos coming back. You got so many independent drivers making returns. They could have so easily just thrown so many of the trucks that they had in the stadium tour in an arena. They could have done that. But no, they reached out and they started grabbing like Kaylan Miguez, and they started grabbing all these names, Steve Sims. So many different drivers, so many different trucks, bringing them back into Monster Jam, and it's slowly starting to feel a little bit more normal.
Whoopee! Tyler's back! My favorite driver, he's green! Well, what I gotta say is I'm pretty pumped. I'm happy Tyler's coming back to Monster Jam and the industry. And all these other incredible drivers coming to arena shows once again, which are one of Monster Jam's popular venues to go to now because of all the incredible things you could do. Mini flips, moonwalks, bicycles. Well, only for Tyler bicycles. Sidewalls, all kinds of crazy stuff when they used to only be able to do wheelies and 5-foot jumps. It's incredible what they could do. I'm really happy that they have all these arena shows because it gives fans that don't have big stadiums around them or aren't in Florida or Houston or Arlington specifically to go to a show and be able to attend it and even see different drivers, which even though it might not be a lot, we're just getting started once again. It's going to eventually grow and come back to the 8-truck lineups weekend after weekend for venues. So I'm pretty pumped.
Absolutely, and I just can't wait to see these shows and see drivers like Tyler, because remember, with basically all of the drivers that have been on this year's stadium tour, they've all been they've all had experience, because obviously we saw the Arlington shows last year. We had basically everyone with the exception of Lindsay Reed, who had previously been driving trucks. So we saw Ryan, Adam, Tom, Bryce, Todd, you name all the ones that were on there that were at that show. They had their experience from that show, and then they just kept building upon that. Drivers like Tyler now are coming into this show, and like he hasn't been behind a wheel of a truck. It's been a bit more than a full year since he's really driven the black and green wrecking machine, and same for Tristan, and same for Brandon. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys are going to adapt to this new normal, because their normal has been not driving. Whereas now they're going to come into this truck and they're going to be almost I don't want to say look like rookies, but they kind of are in some aspect, because they're going to be coming out here and they're going to be just driving strangely. It's a really weird way of trying to describe it. But nonetheless, I want to move on to the biggest part of the podcast, being the results from the shows that we've missed out on. So before that, I wanted to do a very, very quick recap of where we got up to last time. We watched the first, we've talked about the first shows in Houston, where Adam Anderson and Tom Meents were at the top of their game. They were absolutely dominating. Adam won both nights in racing. Tom was just kicking ass and taking names. He was doing really well. Same with the other drivers. And then it got to the second week, and it started to shake up a little bit. Ryan was starting to come up on top more and more and more. And now we have the third week, where they decided to reinvent the track. It was the first time that we had seen this track, and it was a lot different to what they had done previously. Now, it seems to be a change in pace. We saw drivers like Corey Rummel and Bryce Kenny step up to the plate, and Ryan was looking like he was in contention to take the series lead. Adam wasn't far behind, and Tom was still at the top. So coming into Orlando, really the pressure, I think, was starting to come onto these drivers. So without further ado, now that I've kind of caught you up, I am going to talk about the results from the 2021 Stadium Championship Series. We're going to talk about the first show that on the 2021 Stadium Championship Series that we have not talked about, being Orlando. The co-hosts, we all agreed that we were going to go show by show, so I'm going to talk about Orlando. Ryan's going to talk about Jacksonville. Wayne is going to talk about Tampa, and Zach's going to talk about Arlington. But nonetheless, we're going to focus on Orlando. So here we go. At Orlando, Camping World Stadium for Show 1 in racing round number 1. Avenger defeated Max D Fire. Bakugan Dragonoid defeated Gravedigger. Scooby-Doo defeated Black Pearl. And Zombie defeated Overboard. In round number 2, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeated Avenger. Bakugan defeated Rage. Megalodon defeated Scooby-Doo. And Zombie defeated Monster Energy. In the semifinals, Bakugan defeated Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, and Megalodon defeated Zombie. In the finals, Adam Anderson and Megalodon defeated Bryce Kenny in the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Moving on to the Skills Challenge, your winner was Ryan Anderson and Bakugan Dragonoid with his 9.699. Monster Energy in second. Megalodon in third, Zombie in fourth, Rage in fifth, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior in sixth, Avenger in seventh, Scooby-Doo in eighth, Black Pearl in ninth, 10th place Max D Fire, Overboard in 11th, and Gravedigger in 12th. And for freestyle in show 1, your winner was Ryan Anderson in the Bakugan Dragonoid with a 9.528. Megalodon in second, Monster Energy in third, Max D in fourth, Zombie in fifth, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior in sixth, Gravedigger in seventh, Overboard in eighth, Scooby-Doo in 9th, Rage in 10th, Black Pearl in 11th, and Avenger in 12th. Your overall event champion was Ryan Anderson in the Bakugan Dragonoid. Moving to Orlando, in round number 1 of Racing, Overboard defeated Rage, Gravedigger defeated Monster Energy, Black Pearl defeated Avenger, and Scooby-Doo defeated Max D. Fire. In round number 2, Megalodon defeated Overboard, and Zombie defeated Gravedigger, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeated Black Pearl, and Bakugan Dragonoid defeated Scooby-Doo. In the semifinals, Megalodon defeated Zombie and Bakugan defeated Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. The final round of racing at show number 2 for Orlando, the two Anderson brothers, Adam and Ryan, faced off. The winner was Adam Anderson in Megalodon, who defeated his brother Ryan in Bakugan. In the skills challenge, Max D. Fire Tom Mance won with a 9.903. Great Clips Mohawk Warrior in 2nd, Black Pearl in 4th, Black Pearl in 3rd, Avenger in 4th, Megalodon in 5th, Scooby-Doo in 6th, Zombie in 7th, Overboard in 8th, Rage in 9th, Bakugan surprisingly low in 10th, Gravedigger in 11th, and Monster Energy did not compete. In freestyle, Bakugan won freestyle with a 9.744. Second was Black Pearl. Third was Toddler Duke and Monster Energy. Rage in 4th, Megalodon in 5th, Scooby-Doo in 6th, Avenger in 7th, Zombie in 8th, Overboard in 9th, Gravedigger in 10th, Maxi Fire in 11th, and 12th place, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Your overall event champion was Culvenan in Black Pearl, getting himself, I believe, another overall event championship. He hadn't got one since Houston. And finally, to round out Orlando, in round number 1, Avenger defeated Scooby-Doo, Monster Energy defeated Black Pearl, Rage defeated Gravedigger, and Overboard defeated Max D. Fire. In round number 2, Megalodon defeated Avenger, Monster Energy defeated Zombie, Rage defeated Bakugan Dragonoid, and the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeated Overboard. In the semi-finals, Monster Energy defeated Megalodon, and Rage defeated Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. In the final round of racing, Monster Energy defeated Rage. Skills challenge, quite possibly one of the best, and considering the fact that Corey Rummel came first, winning the skills challenge for the first time this year, with a 9.761. Tom Mance and Max D. Fire in 2nd, Monster Energy in 3rd, Avenger in 4th, Megalodon in 5th, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior in 6th, 7th was Black Pearl, 8th was Zombie, 9th was Overboard, 10th was Scooby-Doo, Gravedigger in 11th, and Bakugan Dragonoid in 12th. He could not compete. In freestyle, your winner only just was Megalodon, Adam Anderson with a 9.718, Bakugan in 2nd, Black Pearl in 3rd, Monster Energy in 4th, Maxi Fire in 5th, Zombie in 6th, Scooby-Doo in 7th, Avenger in 8th, 9th was the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, Gravedigger in 10th, Overboard in 11th, and Rage did not complete the 30 seconds. Obviously, you know, if you do not complete 30 seconds, you are not eligible for a score. And your overall event champion was Toddler Duke and Monster Energy. Guys, just wanted to very quickly talk about all the shows in Orlando as a whole. A great weekend. I can already think of just so many great things. I remember the third show was filled with so many crashes, especially during racing. The racing was just intense. They also, Ryan had the most incredible set of sidewalls I don't want to say I've ever seen, but pretty close to what he was doing in 2019. Truly incredible how he was able to do that in his truck. Corey Rummel and Rage winning his first skills challenge, I believe, ever. Truly just, I'm amazed. These Orlando shows just insane. I want to hand it over to you guys to quickly comment on the shows in Orlando.
I mean, there's one word to describe the shows in Orlando. Just insane. Really, I mean, everything happened. A whole lot of action, a whole lot of crashes, as you've mentioned. And Ryan Anderson, of course, throwing down a solid run and getting some pretty sick sidewalls. I will agree. It gave me kind of some Ryan Anderson 2017 vibes, really, when it comes down to sidewalls. Some of the best we've seen from him, without a doubt.
That whole night with the whole induction ceremony and everything really made it feel like a world finals almost. It was kind of cool. You had racing and then you had skills, and then they did the whole ceremony knowing that minutes later it was going to be freestyle. And you got the whole Anderson camp there getting ready to burn it down. It was a great weekend, great way for Ryan to end it off.
Man, I was pumped for Orlando. It was a blast. There were so many shows, and they were really filled with action. Day number one, the biggest wow on day number one was really racing with the crazy crashes at the end and the awesome finals. Day number two was great. I think day number two was the best out of all the shows, other than the skills challenge being a little iffy. Racing was great. Skills was pretty good. And freestyle rocked. Adam and Ryan were some of the last two trucks, I believe, to compete. And other than the unfortunate breakage for Tom Meents ending his run early, Adam and Ryan were great people to end the night. Ryan had those crazy sidewalls, did about 4 rotations, and put it back on all 4 BKT tires. I was screaming, and surprisingly didn't lose my voice. Kermit the Frog was screaming too. Day number 3 was a great time, great show, and a great action-packed weekend.
And that is it for Orlando. I'm going to hand it over to Ryan to talk about the next stop on the 2021 Championship Series being in Jacksonville.
Yes, sir. Starting off show number 1 in Jacksonville, Florida. Racing round 1, Black Pearl defeated Avenger. Zombie defeated Scooby-Doo. Bakugan Dragonoid defeating Tom Meents and Max D. Fire. And Jamie Garner and Overboard defeating Christian Anderson and Gravedigger. Round number 2, Black Pearl defeats Monster Energy. Zombie defeating Megalodon. Bakugan Dragonoid defeating Rage. And the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeating Overboard. In the semifinals, Zombie defeated Black Pearl, and Bakugan Dragonoid defeated Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Your championship round race was Ryan Anderson, Bakugan Dragonoid, defeating Bari Musauer and Zombie. That was a great race for sure. And moving on to the skills competition, your winner was Ryan Anderson and Bakugan Dragonoid, getting back-to-back wins with a 9.464. Second place, Monster Energy. Third, Zombie. Fourth, Gravedigger. Fifth, Megalodon. Sixth, Scooby-Doo. Seventh, Tom Meents and Max D. Fire. Eighth, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. 9, the Black Pearl. 10th, Overboard. 11th, Avenger. And rounding it out, 12th, Rage with a 4.492. And your freestyle winner, Christian Anderson and Gravedigger, picking up a win with an 8.963. Tom Meents shortly behind that with an 8.849 in second. And then rounding it out, Monster Energy, Todd LeDuc in third, Cole Vennard and the Black Pearl in fourth, Megalodon in fifth, sixth was Avenger, seventh Rage, eighth Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, ninth Scooby-Doo, 10th Overboard, 11th Zombie, and 12th was Bakugan Dragonoid, who was not able to compete. And your overall event champion was Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy. Moving on to show number 2, racing round 1, Max D. Fire defeated Rage. Megalodon defeated Scooby-Doo. Avenger defeated Overboard. Monster Energy defeated Gravedigger. Round number 2, Bakugan Dragonoid defeated Max D. Fire. Megalodon defeated Black Pearl. Zombie defeated Avenger. Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeated Monster Energy. And in the semifinals, Bakugan Dragonoid defeated Megalodon. And the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeated Zombie. The final round of racing saw Ryan Anderson and Bakugan Dragonoid defeating Bryce Kenny and the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, picking up another racing win in the skills competition. Your skills winner, Jim Kohler and Avenger with a 9.189.
Whoopee.
Christian Anderson in second with a 9.006. And then rounding out the pack, third, Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy. Fourth, Max D. Fire. Fifth, Zombie. Sixth, Overboard. Seventh, the Black Pearl. Eighth, Megalodon. Ninth, Rage. 10th, Scooby-Doo. 11th, Bakugan Dragonoid. And 12th was Bryce Kenny and the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. And for freestyle, Adam Anderson and Megalodon taking the win in the fish with a 9.356. Second place was Gravedigger. Third place was Avenger. Fourth, Overboard. Fifth, Bakugan Dragonoid. Sixth, Max D Fire, Mosh Energy in seventh. Rage in eighth. Ninth place was Black Pearl. Zombie in 10th. 11th was Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. And 12th was Lindsay Reed and Scooby-Doo. And your overall event champion, Mr. Team Scream himself, Mr. Excitement, Jim Kohler and Avenger.
And I just wanted to very quickly talk about the shows at Jacksonville. I love the weekend in Jacksonville. The night show was truly incredible. It was a muddy show, so the drivers had to adapt to this very muddy course. Ryan Anderson took advantage of this in the skills challenge, as I think some drivers were trying to do the Paxton Poppers and the moonwalks, and he decided, well, I'm not gonna try this because I've kind of seen the others and they've already done this and it hasn't worked out too well. I'm gonna do an absolutely incredible slap wheelie that was truly just insane. And obvious from that night show as well, Black Pearl doing the walk the plank, just incredible. And the talking point from that show was Kristen Anderson in Gravedigger with an absolutely jaw-dropping freestyle run that earned herself her first stadium freestyle win in her career. It was just an awesome moment. And of course, the day show during freestyle. Oh man, there was so many amazing wow moments. Of course, Jim Kohler in Avenger being one of them. Tom Meents with a jaw-dropping save at the end of his run. Who else was there? There was just so many moments from that show that was just incredible. I forgot to mention earlier, I'm going to be putting up some highlights after we've talked about the results, or after each person has read the results from the show. So while I'm talking now, I'm going to put up some highlights. Some of these are courtesy of Connor Bauer, aka The Best Jelly, and Wayne. I want to thank both of those two for allowing me to use those clips. Again, you'll see them up on screen as I'm talking right now, but nonetheless, guys, what do we think of these shows in Jacksonville?
Listen, let me tell you something. Whenever Monster Jam goes down to Jacksonville, they always tend to throw down. Jacksonville just happens to be one of Monster Jam's biggest spots. And from the shows that we've seen recently, here in Jacksonville, once again, they have thrown down tons of surprises, really. Lots of names to get up there in the winners brackets that you wouldn't really expect. Personally, I'm just glad to see Jim Kohler get another overall event championship. And it always brings a little smile to my face and a big joy to my heart. Jim Kohler, of course, throwing down. Ryan Anderson, Tom Meents, both throwing down. Adam as well. Racing seemed to be very great. Freestyle was great. And, of course, like you mentioned, it was a mud show. So Ryan Anderson getting a mean slap wheelie in that Bakugan Dragonoid, getting a very high score, and really just throwing down a solid run.
You know, Kristen, man, she took advantage of that rainy weather. She really tore it up in the mud. Arguably, I know where Ryan had a great slap wheelie, but I personally think Kristen kind of got robbed of a skills win, because if you go back and you watch her skills run, she had two very unique hits. She got the wheelie up, and then it would just start smacking the side of the ramp because it was trying to get traction. She just held it straight up and it was just full throttle. It was really cool, and it's something you can't do on that normal dirt. So Christian really took advantage of that weekend. It was a great two-show weekend for sure.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool highlight, Ryan. I remember that, and I think that was a very close score, if I believe so. That was very cool that she was able to do that, though, and that was thanks to the muddy track. That was the only mud show we had this year, and it was a fun one. There was a lot of highlights from it, and I was pretty happy with it. 2 solid days. I'm very happy, especially Jim Kohler, Team Scream, got the overall. Team Scream's been doing really good this year and had a great season. It's not done yet. There's a lot more to come, but Jacksonville was a solid 2 shows. I'm happy we had a mud show, and there's a lot more carnage that came up after this.
And speaking of that carnage, I'm going to hand it back over to Wayne to talk about the 3 shows in Tampa.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Raymond James Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Super Bowl champions. Let's get into day number one. Here was show number one, round one of racing. We had the Black Pearl defeating Overboard. Max D Fire took out Scooby-Doo. Avenger defeated Gravedigger. Monster Energy defeated Rage. Heading into round number two, Bakugan Dragonoid was able to defeat the Black Pearl. Max D Fire was able to defeat Zombie. Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeated Avenger. Megalodon defeated Monster Energy. Now heading into your semifinal round, Bakugan Dragonoid defeated Tom Mentz and Max D Fire. Megalodon defeated Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. And it was a brother versus brother lineup for the final round. Ryan Anderson versus Adam Anderson. And I believe your winner was Ryan Anderson and Bakugan Dragonoid. Heading into the skills competition for day number one, your winner, I'll start from the bottom to the top. So Overboard was in 12th place, Gravedigger in 11th, Avenger in 10th, Scooby-Doo in 9th, Black Pearl in 8th, Rage got 7th, Zombie in 6th, Bakugan Dragonoid in 5th, Adam Anderson and Megalodon in 4th, Max D Fire in 3rd, 2nd was Monster Energy, and your first competition win in the Skills Challenge in Tampa was Bryce Kenny and Great Clips Mohawk Warrior with a 9.252. Now heading into your final competition of the night, Freestyle. Your winner was Megalodon. Heading into second place was Ryan Anderson and Bakugan Dragonoid. Then Black Pearl, Monster Energy, Rage, Zombie, Max D Fire, Scooby-Doo, Gravedigger, Avenger, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, and Overboard that did not get to compete, unfortunately, so he did not have a score. Your overall champion for day number one was Adam Anderson and Megalodon, and that really helped him with the season points. Now heading into show number two, we start off racing with Avenger defeating Rage, Monster Energy defeating Gravedigger, Zombie defeating Scooby-Doo, and Black Pearl defeating Overboard. Moving into round number two, Bakugan Dragonoid was able to defeat Avenger, Monster Energy defeated Max D Fire, Zombie defeated Megalodon, and Great Clips Mohawk Warrior was able to take out the Black Pearl. Moving into your semifinal round, Bakugan Dragonoid was able to take out Monster Energy, and Zombie, Bari Musauer, pulling an upset against Bryce Kenny, taking out the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Your finals for day number two was Bakugan Dragonoid, who defeated Bari Musauer and Zombie and took home the racing win. Bari did a great job. Now moving into your skills competition, we're going to go from first to last now. Monster Energy was your winner with a 9.649, an incredible move which got him the lead. He had a crazy crash and brought it back on all fours and then led it up with another good hit. Max D Fire in second, Black Pearl in third, Megalodon fourth, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior fifth, Bakugan Dragonoid sixth, Zombie seventh, Avenger eighth, Gravedigger ninth, Rage 10th, Overboard 11th, and Scooby-Doo in 12th. Then your final competition of the night for day number two, your winner was Max D Fire with a 9.828. Tom Mentz threw it down that night. It was incredible. Then in second place, Monster Energy, Megalodon, Avenger, Gravedigger, Zombie, Black Pearl, Rage, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, Bakugan Dragonoid, Overboard, which had an incredible crash. Unfortunately, did not complete time. 0. And Lindsey Reed, who crashed early as well, did not complete time. Your overall champion for day number two, Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy, which did an incredible job at that event and was trying to make up for the past events that he didn't make it to. Moving into show number three, the final show of the 3-day weekend in Tampa Bay. Moving into racing, round number one, Max D Fire defeating Rage, Megalodon defeating Gravedigger, Avenger defeating Scooby-Doo, and Black Pearl defeating Overboard. Heading to your second round, Bakugan Dragonoid took out Max D Fire, Megalodon defeated Monster Energy, Zombie defeated Avenger, and Black Pearl pulled an upset and defeated Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Now into your semifinal round, you had Megalodon taking on his brother Ryan Anderson, and who he defeated, Bakugan Dragonoid. Avenger was able to take out Black Pearl, 2 independent trucks, and your finals was Megalodon and Avenger. Unfortunately, Jim Kohler lost by a few 100ths of a second 100ths of a second, and Megalodon was able to take it. Moving on to your skills competition, your winner, none other than the professor, Tom Mentz, Max D Fire with a 9.467. Avenger in second, Monster Energy in third, Megalodon in fourth, Scooby-Doo fifth, Zombie sixth, Bakugan Dragonoid seventh, Great Clip Smallhawk Warrior eighth, Gravedigger ninth, Overboard 10th, Black Pearl 11th, and Rage in 12th. Heading into your final competition of the night, or of the day, should I say, and the weekend, your freestyle winner was none other than Corey Rummel in Rage. And what an upset against his teammate Avenger. Super close scores. It was a 9.287 compared to a 9.245. But your winner was Rage, then with Avenger, Scooby-Doo, Bakugan Dragonoid, Monster Energy, Max D Fire, Zombie, Great Clip Smallhawk Warrior, Megalodon, Overboard, Black Pearl, and Gravedigger did not complete minimum time. Your overall event champion for day number 3, none other than Jim Kohler and Avenger for Team Scream Racing, who got an overall in Jacksonville, took home another one in Tampa Bay, and what an amazing 3 days it was, Jackson. And guys, I was super pumped about it. I'm glad they came to the hometown. And 3 shows in Tampa made up for last year, especially for the first show, where Ryan and Morgan had some unfortunate endings really early. These 3 shows made up for it, and I hope they continue to do at least 2 shows a weekend. It gives the drivers a lot of time to be ready and be adapted to that specific venue. I'm pumped. Let's see what you guys have to say.
Well, absolutely, Wayne, excuse me. All these drivers really throwing down this past weekend. Personally, again, I'm very excited to see Avenger taking home the overall event championship in weekend number 3. It's really about that consistency, excuse me. Jim Kohler, of course, placing second in every single one of those competitions, the runner-up in racing, second in skills and freestyle, and of course, everyone else also threw down. Black Pearl, Cole Bernard, Corey Rummel behind the wheel of Rage, Kristen, Ryan, and Adam, of course, throwing down as always. Same thing with Mr. Tom Mentz. A phenomenal showing overall from every single one of these drivers.
It was a great weekend, man. I so wish as this tour started to turn into what it was, I was just like, man, I want to go so bad. When it started, I was like, I don't know how many of the shows are even going to happen. Like COVID, I'm sure some of these shows are going to get postponed, canceled. And then as they slowly started every week, they were consistent and started putting out good shows. I was like, okay, this is a fun tour. And so I was excited to see it. And Jackson, I want to know what you thought.
These shows in Tampa was just truly, you started to see the season come together. We started seeing how great the tour was going to be in Houston. There was just so many great moments in there, and then it progressed to Orlando, and then it progressed to Jacksonville. And when I saw the day show in Jacksonville, I was like, okay, how can this get any better? Come on, we've just seen one of the greatest shows in recent years. And then, of course, they came out, and Tampa was just filled with great moments. I mean, Toddler Duke's bicycle into weird crash, Tom Mentz's absolutely jaw-dropping amount of air, Toddler Duke's save and freestyle, Tom Mentz's slap moonwalk at the third show. I was like, what is happening? The drivers knew that that Tampa was basically, other than Arlington, but that was one of their last points to scramble for points. And I believe that's where Adam took this series lead. And it was, there was just so many moments throughout these shows that was just truly incredible. And the series, you could tell the drivers were like, okay, it's winding down. It's getting to the point where, these drivers are coming out and they're going to be given their all because they want to take this series championship. And wow, what a time in Tampa. And even though I wasn't there, Wayne, I totally agree with you. From the shows that you saw last year in Tampa, these 3 shows that they had this year made up for it. Absolutely great and amazing shows. I'm now going to hand it over to Zach to talk about the final show on the 2021 Stadium Championship Series being Arlington. So, Zach, up to you.
Thank you, Jackson. And yes, to wrap it up here in our final stop, we're here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And of course, for the first show number 1, we had the debut of the Monster Mutt Dalmatian Galaxy truck. Now, for those of you who don't know, Spin Master and their brand new die casts of 1/64 scale trucks are going to be coming out with the Gears and Galaxy set. So, of course, last year we had Zombies versus Hunters and Ice versus Fire. This year it is Galaxies and Gears. And, of course, also in that news, also, may I add, Monster Mutt Dalmatian replaced Scooby-Doo within that lineup. And Cole Vernard and the Black Pearl was also replaced, but by none other than my personal friend, Zach Gardner, behind the wheel of Wildside. So it's really great to see that father-son duo of Mr. Jamie Gardner and Zach Gardner as well. But of course, speaking of Overboard, let's get on to racing. And in the first round of number 1, Rage, unfortunately defeating Overboard, and Zombie defeating Wildside. But within the next race, Monster Energy defeated the debuting Monster Mutt Galaxy, and Max D Fire defeated Gravedigger. As we move on to round number 2, Rage defeats Megalodon and Zombie defeats Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, as well as Monster Energy defeating Avenger and Bakugan Dragonoid defeating Max D Fire. And going into the semifinals, we have Rage defeating Zombie and Monster Energy defeating Brian Anderson behind the wheel of the Bakugan Dragonoid. And in the finals, we have Monster Energy defeating Rage. And as we move on down to our skills competition, we have the winner, of course, being Adam Anderson behind the wheel of Megalodon with an 8.573. In second place, we have the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior being driven by Bryce Kenny, getting an 8.329, and Max D Fire, driven by Tom Mentz, getting a 7.948. Ryan Anderson in 4th place, Avenger in 5th, Zombie in 6th, Monster Mutt Galaxy in 7th, Overboard getting 8th, Rage getting 9th, Wildside getting 10th, Monster Energy getting 11th, and Gravedigger getting 12th place. But of course, as we go on to our freestyle competition, we have Todd LeDuc sitting at number 1 with a 9.748. And Max D Fire, of course, again being driven by Tom Mentz, getting a 9.512. And Bryce Kenny getting a 9.291 behind the wheel of the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Overboard getting 4th, Bakugan Dragonoid getting 5th, Avenger getting 6th, Galaxy getting 7th, Megalodon getting 8th, Zombie 9th, Rage 10th, Gravedigger 11th, and Wildside, who unfortunately could not complete the minimum time, getting last place. And with the overall event championship here for the first show in Arlington going to Tom Mentz, we wrap up the first night as we get ready, for show number 2, of course, round number 1. Wildside somehow, someway beating Adam Anderson and Megalodon, and of course Max D Fire defeating Gravedigger, Avenger defeating Overboard, and the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior defeating Monster Mutt Galaxy. Monster Energy has defeated Wildside in round number 2, and Zombie defeating Max D Fire as well. Rage defeats Avenger in a battle of the teammates, and Bakugan Dragonoid defeated the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior in the battle of the Bell Trucks. And going into our semifinals, Monster Energy defeating Zombie and Bakugan Dragonoid defeating Rage to set up for our finals between Bakugan Dragonoid, who has taken out Monster Energy, clinching the racing championship. And of course, as we go from racing, we move on down to our skills competition with Max D Fire, driven by Tom Mentz, picking up the win and getting an 8.666, excuse me. Bakugan Dragonoid being driven by Ryan Anderson, getting an 8.571, and Zombie getting an 8.413. Monster Mutt Galaxy with an impressive showing, getting 4th place, Wildside in 5th, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior in 6th, Avenger in 7th, Monster Energy in 8th, Megalodon in 9th, Overboard in 10th, Rage in 11th, and Gravedigger in 12th place. as we go on into our freestyle competition. We have our winner, Ryan Anderson, driving the Bakugan Dragonoid, getting a 9.569. Monster Energy getting a 9.569 as well, taking second, of course, driven by Todd LeDuc, and Zombie getting a wow, Jackson. I think you messed it up here.
Well,
on the
actually,
sheet.
sorry if I may cut in. Good old the people on the Monster Jam website decided that there was a 10-way tie in the second show. I am going to quickly. Sorry to cut you off, guys. That is
No,
kind
you're
of
absolutely
embarrassing.
okay.
Josh Lee, thank you very much. He actually has the scores here, so I'm going to read them out very quickly. That was kind of funny. But anyway, yes, so the winner, Ryan Anderson Bakugan Dragonoid, had a 9.569. That was his actual score. Monster Energy in second had a 9.199. Zombie in third with an 8.17. Monster Muck Galaxy an 8.253, Wildside a 7.851, Megalodon with a 7.87, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior with a 7.663, Gravedigger with a 7.580, Rage with a 6.70, oh sorry, 7.40. Nope, sorry. I can read today. Rage had a 6.740. There we go. Overboard had a 6.59. Sorry, 6.659. I'm doing really well today. And Avenger and Max D did not complete minimum time.
Alrighty, and of course, our overall event champion, taking the event win, Ryan Anderson behind the wheel of the Bakugan Dragonoid. It was really tight between that 10-way tie. However, it was very nice to see Ryan Anderson come out on top. Guys, a very intense weekend here. Firstly, may I just talk about the beautiful design of the Monster Mutt Dalmatian Galaxy, replacing Lindsay Reed behind the wheel of Scooby-Doo. And it was incredible to see the debut of Zach Gardner and Wildside, of course, doing very well in show number 2, defeating Megalodon, which has really gotten, my emotions all high up. So really, I'm friends with someone who defeated Adam Anderson. But hey, I'm not one to brag. Of course, coming up a little bit short in round 2 to Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy. And he did very good as well, taking on, I believe, FIP in both freestyle and skills. So really, Zach Gardner and really the whole Overboard camp having a great night. But of course, coming up short to the Bakugan Dragonoid. Either way, a very great night of racing and freestyle and skills on both nights.
And I wanted to just talk about the sheer insanity of this last show. Of course, this venue, this place was where Monster Jam made their return after 7 months of no action, and it's very fitting that this was the place where the championship series ended. And speaking of which, I'm going to quickly run through the points, and then we're going to recap, I guess, the rest of the series and just basically say what we thought about it and all that stuff. So, in first place, your series champion was Ryan Anderson and Bakugan Dragonoid with 424 points. Monster Energy, Todd LeDuc in second with 404. Megalodon in third. Adam Anderson with 402 points. Max D Fire in fourth. Great Clips in fifth. Zombie in sixth. Avenger in seventh. Eighth was Corey Rummel in Rage. Colvinard in ninth, technically sharing that spot with Zach Garner in Wildside. Jamie Garner in Overboard in 10th. Lindsay Reed in 11th. And Kristen Anderson in 12th. Guys, what a series. I'm just, last year we were trying to, Monster Jam had only just come back, and we were starting to figure out how Monster Jam was going to make their return, and with this championship series, they really just brought back what Monster Jam was, but they had these 12 core drivers that we've gotten used to, and it is great to see them all going ahead. We've seen the debut of the Monster Mutt Dalmatian Galaxy, Dalmatian Galaxy? Does that open the doors for more Gears and Galaxies trucks like Zach said? Who really knows? There's still lots of shows, of course. Monster Jam in San Antonio will be in July. The show I am most excited for in Atlanta Motor Speedway, that show is going to be truly incredible. And of course, all the arena shows that we talked about before. I'm going to hand it over to you guys to say what you guys thought of not just Arlington, but the championship series in general.
I mean, what other way to put it than it was a fun series? The 2020 to 2021 season, of course, being one of the most complicated seasons in the entirety of Monster Jam due to the COVID-19 pandemic that has been going on. However, Monster Jam thankfully taking their time and making it work, as did most companies and promotions. We're really starting to see a whole widespread of monster truck shows making their returns. Of course, jamborees coming out there, as well as fairground shows. Luckily, I've attended a few already. I'm going to be attending another fairground show actually in a couple of weeks, and that'll be very fun. I'll make sure to send you the footage that way, Jackson. But overall, to bring it back to our point here with Monster Jam, very well done. All of the drivers going out there, throwing down, having a solid night of action on every single show, even on our mud shows. It was so well done, and I'm very glad we were able to get Monster Jam back, without a doubt.
And that final show of Arlington, man, Ryan Anderson down 1 point. I mean, the man came out and just dominated. He took 35 of the 36 possible points to win the series by 20. I mean, that is just insane. Ryan Anderson, what a perfect way to end off the series, and Todd LeDuc making that huge comeback at the end and taking second place over Adam. But this whole series was phenomenal. Like, Jackson, when we were talking earlier at the beginning of the series, we both agreed that Tom Meents had this thing in the bag. If Tom kept doing the same thing he was doing every week, he had it locked down. The next 3 weeks after that, I believe he didn't make it past the first round of racing for like a good solid 2 weekends. And that hurt him a lot. That made the points race a lot more interesting. So this was by far, I think, one of the best point series that we've had in Monster Jam history. And kind of touching a little bit on some of the drivers here, there were so many little things of driver improvement that we saw that were just phenomenal. Starting out with Adam Anderson, there were so many things about Adam's game that I came to light. Like, Adam has really started perfecting the bicycle, following after his brother, and that has been surreal. Bryce Kenny, I mean, where did this guy pull out moonwalks like he's doing now? He never did this in 2020, and now he's coming out and doing these perfect stopping moonwalks, and it's phenomenal. Bari Musauer doing really well in stadiums again. Glad to see that. Jim Kohler. I mean, what was this dude on? Like, he came out every show and dominated. Like, where has this Jim been? It was insane. And then Jamie Garner getting better at his two-wheel also, and that was really nice to see. Lindsay Reed kind of proving her worth a little bit after she is our reigning freestyle champion. And she definitely came out several times and proved that she is still worth being in this sport. And then Kristen getting that stadium experience, that was really great as well. But overall, just a phenomenal series, a lot to gain. Drivers like Corey and Tom starting to do that. Neil, I guess, two-wheel move. You walking it up and then you throw it back like he did at the World Finals. But I really feel like we're starting to pick up where we were back in 2020, and it is really great to see.
Man, Jackson, what a year it was. I was so pumped for the Stadium Championship Series. Just by the first few events in Houston, Texas, it got every single fan and people that aren't even into the sport that watch on TV pumped. There were so many incredible moments. It's what made my friends want to come from Philadelphia and all these other states to Florida to come to Tampa and hang out with me and all the other friends and watch this awesome series, from stuff like Jim Kohler's save and Corey Rummel's freestyle win back in Houston, all the overalls, the incredible moments, the saves, the crashes, the backflips, and the iconic moments of Gravedigger versus Max D and stuff like that. It's what made fans really psyched for this season. And like you were saying, Ryan, this season's points chase was one of the most, probably number one, impressive series we've ever had. There was so much domination from every top 5, top 10 driver. You'd have Tom Mentz in the lead, and then it'd go to Adam Anderson. It switched to Ryan Anderson, and then it looked like Todd LeDuc was going to take it, and it was close all the way to the finish until Ryan Anderson dominated a lot of the points. I think that he got a little overscored on the skills run the second day in Arlington, but other than that, he absolutely dominated Arlington. He had great freestyles, good racing competition, and his skills game was pretty on point other than the early crashes and wreckage. It was an awesome season. I loved it. It was so enjoyable, especially after a whole year of basically missing out on Monster Jam, missing out on the World Finals. And it really got a lot of fans sad, had a lot of employees that were unfortunately out of the sport, which some of them are back in now. And I'm so happy. It was such a great year. I got to meet up with a lot of friends. I'm very thankful to God that we were able to have Monster Jam back, and now it's back for good. Atlanta is coming up, more arena shows, and this was the best season yet for a long time. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in Atlanta in the coming shows.
That was truly that was worded so well, Wayne. I mean, truly, it was just. I don't want to repeat too much of what you said, but basically, you're absolutely right. It felt like a true return, and it was just so, last year, I was sad. I was upset when when COVID literally looked like it was ruining the world and it was ruining Monster Jam. And, it had all of us down in that time where we were just so upset and we were just feeling down and out, and we were treating it like the end of the world. But we all found that courage, we all found that strength to get through it and to pull through it and to just keep doing what we've been doing, and just, obviously staying safe, but, finding ways to, enjoy ourselves. And now, because of the fact that we've been keeping safe and we've been, staying clean and we've been doing our part, and obviously Feld has been doing their part too, we've now been able to have Monster Jam come back, and it is just truly, truly incredible. And unfortunately, that is the end of this week's episode. So thank you everyone so much for listening. Remember, if you want to follow my social media, it's at Monster Jam Historian on Instagram and Monster Jam Historian on YouTube. You can also follow the official weekly Monster Truck Podcast Instagram page at the Weekly MT Podcast on Instagram. You can also check out the Facebook page for announcements on podcast episodes, results, news from Monster Jam, all that great stuff. You're going to be seeing it on the Facebook page too. You can also check out the other homes of the podcast, such as the Spotify page, the Anchor page, Radio Public, Google Podcasts. Those are the audio places, so if you just want to listen to us talk, you can check out those. If you want to listen to not only us, but also see the great videos that I try to put together, you can also check out the Monster Jam Stone YouTube channel. Before we close off today's episode, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about and shout out and announce. Firstly was, for those who are paying attention, I didn't get to bring this up in the Don Frankish podcast, but you can, as you may or may not have noticed, we have a brand new logo courtesy to Jam Customs, aka Taylor Andes. I love this logo. It's absolutely beautiful, and it fits the podcast so well. Definitely check him out. He's a great guy, and I'm super excited to have this brand new podcast logo, and hopefully you're going to be seeing plastered on some amazing things very soon. Make sure to check it out. Another thing too is, just because the 2021 Stadium Championship Series is ending, that doesn't mean that the the spreadsheet that I've been updating with points and statistics and all that stuff isn't going to be updated. All of these arena shows that you'll see are going to get updated, so we're going to keep building upon the statistics sheet. You're going to be seeing, I'm going to leave a link in the description to this podcast, so make sure to check it out down there. And another thing I wanted to talk about is the podcast and the YouTube channel for those who are regular visitors. I've had some free time recently, which is why the podcast is returning. I can't wait to be doing all sorts of different podcasts. Now that the 2021 Stadium Championship Series is over, we're going to be talking about lots of different things. We're going to be having, Zach, Ryan, Wayne, and Sam. He's a brand new guy. I haven't had him on yet, and he unfortunately couldn't make today's episode. So hopefully he'll be on in the next one. We're going to be talking about all sorts of different topics, and most exciting, of course, I'm going to be trying to do some driver interviews, so you guys are going to be able to listen to some great interviews and ask some people some great questions. And of course, for those who watch the YouTube channel and look forward to the Rigs of Rods Monster Jam videos that I make, stay tuned for that. The St. Louis episode that people have been wanting to see, that Ryan actually did commentary for, that is going to be coming out very, 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 very soon. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get it done. It looks fantastic. So hopefully that'll be out soon. And of course, other projects that I have in mind, make sure to stay tuned to the YouTube channel. That's enough from me. I'm going to hand it over to you guys in true weekly Monster Truck Podcast fashion. The floor is yours. You guys may shout out or plug whatever you want.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jackson. Of course, if you want, definitely go over, check out the Drop Silver Zero YouTube channel. Not really much content has been uploaded there as of late, but maybe we'll be getting back into the swing of things. And that's really it in terms of social medias that I got to plug.
Well, Steel Titan Sports League is among us, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch Jackson, Wayne, and I on there coming up very soon. I will be going head-to-head with Wayne in the Crazy Bull, and I will be piloting Zombie. I am the only Zombie driver out of all the tours, so any Zombie fans out there, you'll have to catch Wayne and I on the Tour Blue, Tour 2, and I believe, Jackson, you are on Tour 1
Yes.
in Megalodon. So you'll have to check us out, and I'm looking forward to getting back and making my debut.
Hey, hello. How are you doing? How you doing? I'd like to shout out my Instagram and YouTube, Avengers Racing. I do monster truck content. I post pizza and lots of fun stuff. You'd like it. Also, make sure to check out Steel Titans Sports League, the best Steel Titans league out there right now. And a new season is coming on the brand new Steel Titans 2. Like Ryan said, I'm going to be going up against him. And we're gonna be handing out some pizza because we're gonna get a few victories. It's gonna be a good one, and looking forward to it. Oh, hey, follow Monster Jam Kermit on Instagram. Okay, and that's it.
And of course, Kermit makes his appearance every single podcast. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening. I can't wait to be doing more podcast stuff and more YouTube things. Special thank you once again to Connor and Wayne for allowing me to use their footage in this podcast. Makes the episode even more enjoyable than it always is. Thank you everyone so much for listening. Stay safe, stay positive, keep on jamming. We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
See ya.
It's time to jam.
because it's time to jail. Thank you.
Legendary thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Beautiful.
That was the best
We're
one by
gonna
far.
put that at the end.